Hello friends, and welcome to another Make It Monday Facebook Live. Give me just a moment to refresh my page, make sure we're actually up and running and on screen and all of that. And it looks like we are fabulous. Thank you for joining me tonight. I am Jamie Sales, Independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. Today is Monday, January 19th, 2026. And I have for you tonight some spring theme cards because here where I'm at in Northwest Indiana, it is frigid today. And so we're thinking spring. And if you saw my post yesterday, I was at an event on Saturday and I used some of these supplies. In fact, I'm bringing some of those supplies home with me and that's what I'm creating with tonight. So you'll get to see a little bit of that as well. But before we get started, let me ask you to please say hello, whether you're watching live or the replay. It's always nice to know who's here with me. And I see some eyeballs, but I don't see any hellos yet. So thank you for joining me. Also, quickly before we get started, I wanted to remind you that Bonus Days is going on until February 2nd. So you have, what's that? A little over 2 weeks left to earn Bonus Days coupons for every $50 that you order. Also, the product of the month. I'm going to be using the current product of the month, which is a stamp set. I'm going to use it tonight, so I'll show you that. That's what you get, or you can get for just $5 with a $75 purchase. Also, I announced last week that if you place an order of $75 or more with me this month, I will give you all 3 card kits for the cards that I created last week, minus the stamped images because I'm not allowed to do that. But you can use those kits with any products that you might already have. What else? The giveaway for last week. Joyce Gimlin, congratulations. You were the winner for last week. So the next time I see you, I will give you one of those cards. And on the calendar, next week's a busy one. I have stamping at the Senior Center in Michigan City on Tuesday at 1 o'clock. You do need to register through the Senior Center by Friday if you're new to that class. And Stamp Camp here at the house next Wednesday, the 28th at 2 in the afternoon. So we can hopefully get you home before dark on next Wednesday. RSVPs are appreciated for that as well. And hi Peggy and Emily and Donna. Thank you all for joining me. Thanks for sharing as well. And I think we're ready to get started. So close your eyes, Emily. I'm going to rotate the camera. Here comes the spin. We'll get you down here looking at my table. We're all set, Emily. You can open your eyes. Get an extra light, and all right, here we are. So these are a couple products from the New Mini catalog that I totally overlooked. I saw them, I thought not interested. They are found on page 16, printed very small, but there's an ephemera pack with 6 sheets of punch outs, 2 each of 3 different designs. So I've used some of them already. That's one of the sheets. Here's another one. This went there. And you'll see these things that I've already used as I show you what I've already created. Here's another one. So got some nice spring images there. And then also these puffy stickers. And again, I've used some of them. I was thinking puffy stickers, no thank you. And thinking like dollar store, shiny, cheap looking puffy stickers. But these are actually really nice. I love that they're a matte finish. They're not super puffy. I would say you got less height than you would if you used a dimensional. But they just, I'll just say they're much prettier than I expected when I saw them in the catalog. So that's a great thing about actually going to a class or an event where you can see the product, because very often it is much prettier than you expect it's going to be. So here's one of the cards that I created with one of those punch outs, and then this is a puffy sticker. And then this is a new embossing folder. It's called, what's it called? All in a Row. Here it is in blue, and I don't know how well it shows up on camera. But we've got kind of this ginghamy plaid look with some stripes, some, I think these are probably florals, and then some, oh here, like some little dots or stitching. And I'm sure it's hard to see on camera, but that's one of the new embossing folders. Used that one on this card with some shimmer paper. The new shimmer paper comes in a pack with yellow, pink, and like a bluish green. And then I did this one. These are cards that I used with the supplies that Stephanie gave us last week. Now, in all honesty, I came home and added this gray layer and this bit of ribbon. But again, these are the puffy stickers. I just added a couple of the brass butterflies. And quick, easy, and I love how they look on that. I don't know. I just, like I said, I love them much more than I expected to. And then finally, I did have this one done, where I used the branching out dies. Again, just one of the pop outs, glued flat, a sentiment, and a little brass butterfly. So, simple if you're already a crafter. These are going to come together very quickly. I'm going to make 3 more with you now, but I think it's going to go fast. Hopefully I'm not mistaken. I went too long last week, I think. This is a different embossing folder. These are the 2 that Stephanie provided for the event last week. Thank you. Thank you. Good. I'm glad you can see it. Emily, do you have those packs? Okay, so this one is a different embossing folder. This is an online exclusive. It's called Lovely Stripes 3D embossing folder. So this one, it's all obviously stripes, but we've got some solid lines, and then, well, they're solid on this side, and then a wider one. On the flip side, the skinny ones are actually kind of stitched. So pretty. So what Stephanie provided us were the ephemera packs, 4 card bases, and then 4 card layers. So with this one, you can decide which way you want it to go. I think I'm going to use the side with the stitching on the top here. And I had a plan. Let me just not mess up and glue something before I remember what the plan was. But at this event I attended, as I said, she provided 4 layers, 4 bases in these pastel colors, and then the ephemera pack and stickers, so you could kind of make your own thing. And she had some examples. So this card that I'm creating is a variation of one of her samples. And this one is truly so quick. So we got that on there. She also provided 4 white layers, 4 white rectangles, which then we could use for die cutting or simply stamping. So I'm going to stamp on this one a sentiment from the product of the month. As I mentioned, it is Fabulous Sayings. Those are the sentiments that are included. Happy birthday. You're on my mind. Thank you. Sending love. Hello. You can do anything. So much. So thank you so much. Or you're on my mind so much. Hooray. To a fabulous friend, just because, and there are simply no words for this. So I'm going to come in here with a happy birthday. And I'm stamping in Pretty in Pink because that was the card color that or the layer that I'm using. And then I'm going to pop out, where did I go with them? These little pink tulips. And these little yellow tulips. And I'm looking somewhere. There's another bunch of flowers that I wanted to use. Right there. Something like that. Or maybe, no, those definitely need to be in the middle. And obviously you could pop those up or you could glue those flat. I'm going to glue these flat and then pop this whole rectangle. Oh, but first, see, I tend to do that. I'm going to add, just to spiff it up a little bit, I'm going to ink around the edges of this white layer with some of that pretty and pink ink and a finger dauber, and just kind of brush along the edges, soften them up a little bit. So the contrast between this and that pink layer is not quite so stark. I don't always do something like this, but once in a while I think, especially if I don't add a backing layer to a white, I feel like this just kind of sets it apart a little bit. A little bit less, I guess, because it will kind of help blend in a little bit. Okay? So look, just that little bit adds that little touch. Now let's glue those 3 flowers. Oh, good. Have you, sorry, I'm just seeing your comments, Emily. Have you started creating with the ephemera or the sticky or the puffy stickers yet? This was my first time playing with them. Obviously, because I did not have them. Okay. I'm going to pop up this entire layer with dimensionals. And then I tied a tiny pink bow from the bubble bath, yeah, I always want to say bubble bath ribbon that we have. I'm not sure where I want to put it. Yeah, I like the pink ink around the white base. So there, it could be done. Or we can add this. So this ribbon's very narrow, but I like that. I like small things sometimes. Pre-tied a bow. I was trying to be more time efficient tonight. So, where with the bow? I don't know. I don't know where to put the bow. We could just go in the corner like that, right? Why not? Trying not to overthink tonight. Gotcha, Emily. Well, hopefully this will inspire you a little bit. Use my glue dots here and just press the knot of the bow right on there. And up a little bit, just for a little fancy on there. And there's card number 1. Simple, simple. And obviously you could simplify it. You wouldn't have to do the sponging around, and you wouldn't have to add the bow. Okay, moving on. Got a thick basic white card base here. I know I've got white on white, which is kind of tough to see. And we're going to add that embossed layer in Balmy Blue. This is the one with like the gingham look that I just showed you earlier. And you'll notice I do go heavier than normal when I'm attaching an embossed layer, just because you want points of contact everywhere. Make sure your beautiful card stays put together. Thank you. Appreciate that. And then that shimmery paper that I showed you on that one card, here is a rectangle of it, of the yellow that I cut with the textured notes dies. So we've got some embossing here for some texture. We've got the texture on there. And this, I'm also going to glue flat. I love this shimmer paper. It's, so Stampin' Up! Has had, and I'm going glue in the middle again because I'm attaching it to the embossed piece. Stampin' Up! Sometimes has shimmer paper, which is what this is, just shiny, as opposed to glimmer paper, which they sometimes have, and that's more glittery. So this is just the shine. And I apologize for the shadows. I've got a couple extra lights going, but I haven't figured out a workaround for that. So that's my card base. And then I'm going to bring in this watering can. So we'll pop that out. So here you can see where I chose my colors. We've got a blue can with yellow flowers, hence my blue and yellow. I've already got some dimensionals on the back because we want to pop this up. And I was sitting at this event on Saturday. I was sitting next to a lady that I met. Her name was also Stephanie. And she was just creating away. She had some great ideas, but she tipped her watering can. I liked that. And then I came home and found these holographic resin dots. I thought, well, we can make those be like the drips coming out of the water, or out of the can. So we're going to add just a, what do you think? Do those look like drips dripping out? Say yes, because that's what I want them to look like. So there those are. Now, talked about this shimmer paper. I did a test. I wasn't sure whether the ink would stick to that or whether it would smear. So I did a test and the test went well, and so I'm going to stamp directly onto this. This sentiment comes from the Easter basket die set or stamp set. There is a bundle, so dies are available. But I'm going to use this Happy Easter. I don't want it to go all the way across, though. So I'm going to just ink up the word happy. And add that. I feel like I need to let it sit an extra hot minute. Ooh, what are we doing? There we go. Happy. And then let me clean off my stamp. And then we'll ink up the Easter side. So if you are truly a beginner, or if you want to craft with someone who is truly a beginner, or gift a project to a beginner, these ephemera packs are amazing for that purpose. And if it's someone who may not have a bunch of sentiments yet, you could also provide Greetings for All Mix and Match ephemera pack. Has all of these sentiments, and they're multi-occasion. So here's a happy Easter. We've got a baby. We've got Mother's Day. We've got some sympathy. Thank you. Hello. So that's another option. You could just take one of those and attach it. But I have stamps, so we're stamping. And I've got this new, showcasing lots of new things today. This is Balmy Blue gingham ribbon. And I thought, why not add a little bow to the handle of my watering can? So we'll snip this here. I have to think about which way the tails should flag. Here we go. Maybe on the bottom. Add a little bow to the handle, and then this one will be done. I like that they're going faster than last week's cards, I will confess. I loved last week's cards with the Cute as a Bug. Or is it? Yes, Cute as a Bug set. And you all were very generous with your time. No complaints. But I try not to keep you for a full hour. There we go. Card number 2. And you'll see that ink is good on the shimmer paper. You're safe. So there's that one. And we haven't used a sticker yet, so let's use a sticker, okay? I've already attached to a Daffodil Delight card base a layer of Lemon Lolly that, again, is embossed with that striped embossing folder. I'm trying, Emily, I'm trying. And I've cut out with the Everyday Arches set a daffodil arch and a white arch, which are going to go there. I've punched out of that ephemera pack the yellow floral wreath and stickers. Okay, I guess I need to glue that before I add the sticker. So let's work with just this arch for a moment. That wreath is going to go there-ish. I wanted something more across the bottom. My sentiment is rather small. It says, Hello Spring. Again, it's from the Easter Basket stamp set. So it's not going to take up a lot of space there. I'm at the end of my white twine, so we're going to use it up. So I like a double bow. So here's my dilemma. I can do a double line of twine with a single bow, or a single line of twine with a double bow. Chime in really fast if you have an opinion about that. But that's going to go there-ish. And then I've got some garden green ink that I'm going to use to add my sentiment. Hello Spring. Okay, let's see. Time's up. Double bow, that's what I was thinking. Thanks, Donna. I'm glad that you like them. Okay, so we're going to do a single wrap. So we'll snip that off. And we'll attach that in a moment. And by double bow, what I mean is I'm taking 2 layers of twine. Oh, it's hard to see white on white. 2 layers of twine. Keeping those together as if they were one, and then tying a bow. So what that is going to give me is a double loop on each side and a double tail on each side. And I like to do that with twine just because it's so thin. It provides a little more heft, a little more something to look at. So we're just gonna shorten those loops a bit and trim my tails. And that is my double bow. Okay. So coming back over here now, I need a little bit of tear and tape on the back side of this to attach my twine. So we'll put a little bit here. Because I don't know exactly where my twine's going to come across the edge, I usually put more tear and tape than I need. That way I'm assured that when I put the twine where I want it to go and fold it back, it will attach to that tear and tape. So we'll get the second side on there. Okay, and now I can attach the white one to the yellow arch, Daffodil Delight. I'm not sure how often I've just layered the two yellows together, but I think for this spring card, it works really well. They're very different yellows. And I've used them together in like an assortment of flowers, but I don't recall layering them right next to one another like that. But that's what we're doing tonight. Okay, now I can attach my wreath. And I'm gonna pop up this entire yellow arch. So, because I don't like to double pop, and create extra thickness, I'm going to let the wreath lay flat. And then our stickers, we're finally getting to use the stickers. Save that bow, I need that. So I've got this little gray bird on these yellow flowers, so that I think goes with my yellow wreath. The stick is nice, and it's a good strength. And again, as I mentioned, it's dimensional. There's height to it. They're called puffy stickers, but it doesn't lift up so obnoxiously high. It's not any higher than, as I said, our dimensionals would be. Okay, let's get our little bow on there. Because I'm working with twine this time, I use the Take Your Pick tool to pick up a glue dot and then scrunch it up. We want it to be smaller than it is. And we're going to put that bow right over here. So we can see the words. There we go. And then again, we'll lift this whole, pop this whole thing up on dimensionals. Now I do also have some yellow embellishments. I was undecided on whether I wanted to use those. I'm looking for an end piece. I want to just put an end piece across there, and I don't really. Here we go. Just peel. If you don't have one, make one. There we go. Support that center that way. So the next thing I'm going to ask you is whether I need some yellow embellishments, and if so, where do they go? Is that straight? I was cognizant when I was creating this, using this embossing folder with the stripes to try to make sure my paper went straight in the folder so that the stripes would be straight. All right. Donna. Oh, nope. Okay, so I brought out the, what are these called? Low profile sparkle dots. So we've got those. I might just go with a couple of those right there. Never mind the consultation. I just decided. My other option was the lemon lolly right there, but I think I like these. Let's do it. Why not? Let's do 3. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, just because that twine was so narrow, that kind of fills that in nicely. Oh, sorry, Emily. I didn't see your comment quick enough. Yeah, we could have done, you know, one there and blah, blah, but did I tell you that my default these days is just put them in a row. So that is card number 3, the final one I'm creating tonight. But look at all we've got. The 3 we did in, what, half an hour? And then the 3 others that I did earlier. So you see I've got some, obviously spring themed. They're all spring themed, I suppose. But I have a couple sympathy cards there, a couple Easter cards, a birthday card, multi-purpose, nice spring colors. And I can't wait to use, look at the these little bunnies and big eggs. Where's the other bunny? This one. Look at how cute this guy is in the basket. So that's what I'm looking forward to making next. But that is what I have for you tonight. Let's get the camera spun back around. Here comes a spin. Get you back up here where I can see, or you can see me, except turn that light off that's shining in my eyes. And let's make sure I didn't miss anything. Thank you, Emily. I'm glad you liked the cards. Again, so easy. Those of you that are avid crafters will find it makes things very quick. Those of you that are crafting with beginners, or if you're a beginner yourself, I would recommend this as a great starting point. If you like it at all, go for it. The ephemera pack, as I said, has 6 sheets. 2 each of 3 different sheets, and it's only $7. And then the sticker sheet gives you 2 sheets that are the same, and that's only $8. So affordable, fun, easy. Now you know. Don't say I didn't tell you. Okay, that is what I have for you tonight. Thank you so much for spending part of your evening with me. I always appreciate that. Reminders to get those RSVPs in if you can join me at either the Senior Center or at Stamp Camp next week. And between now and then, I hope to see you back here next Monday for another Make It Monday live. Thanks. Good night.